clarinets, I'm going to show you how to put your clarinet together. So you're going to start off with your case, and your case has two sides. It has a side that has like a brand name label, and then a side that's blank. The side that doesn't have anything on it, that should go on the ground or wherever you're assembling your clarinet. So when you open up your case, the latches are going to flip up and you're going to not dump all of your clarinet parts on the ground. So see how I flipped up my latches, and then my clarinet's ready to put together. Okay, so we've got several different parts here. The first thing we're going to start off doing is we're going to grease our corks, and you have this thing that kind of looks like chapstick almost in your case, but it's not chapstick. It's called cork grease. And on your clarinet you have several parts where that have cork, like right here, and then a couple other places that I'm going to show you. So you want to give those a little bit of grease every now and then, just kind of touch it on there in a couple spots. You don't have to put a whole bunch on. And then I'm going to take, since I've got that greased, I'm going to take the bell of my clarinet and the lower joint that looks like this. I'm going to put my fingers 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to put it in the palm of my hand like that. That's a really great place to grab the clarinet when you're putting it together, because you're not squeezing on any of these rods right here. Because if you are really aggressive about it and push down really hard, you can actually bend them and damage your instrument. So put your fingers 1, 2, 3 right there and put it in the palm of your hand like that. And you're gonna twist it in there. Just kind of gently wiggle the bell and the lower joint together. Okay, set that down. This is called the upper joint. It's a little smaller. And it has 2 places you need to grease your cork. And you only need to grease your cork probably once a month. You can tell when it's kind of starting to get a little hard to put together. So I'm going to put a little bit on there. I'm going to put a little bit on the top. Doesn't take a whole lot. Okay. This is the bottom with these 4 keys. This is the bottom of it. And again, I'm going to put my fingers 1, 2, and there's a little hole there. I'm going to put my finger right there. That's a good place to grab the clarinet when you're putting it together so you don't bend any rods. That's what it looks like in my hand. And then I'm going to twist these together. Now, you especially want to make sure you're putting your fingers on those keys, because pushing this key, watch this part right here. It's going to lift that up. And you want it to do that, because if you don't lift that part up, when you're twisting it together, it can kind of collide with other things. See right there how there's some other stuff right there? It's going to lift it up so it doesn't run into anything. See it moving? And then you want the holes to line up, so you're going to kind of wiggle it together. Make sure your holes are lined up, which they are. Okay. And then the next part I'm going to put on is the barrel. That goes on this top part. Easy. Just grab it again, put my fingers on the rings, just twist it on. Next part is my mouthpiece. And that's going to need a little grease because it has cork. Okay, I'm going to just wiggle that in there. And this hole right here should line up with the back. It should go on the back of the clarinet. See how it's got your thumb rest, and this hole, and then this thing, and then that hole up there. All of that should line up. Okay, the next thing you want to put on is your reed. And in your case, you have things that look like this. You want to be really careful with them because they're so thin. They're easy to break and chip, and then you have to buy a new reed. Okay, so like what I like to do when I'm putting a clarinet together is as soon as I open up my clarinet, I take that reed out and pop it in my mouth like this. I'm going to soak it because a reed that's wet is a lot easier to play. I usually do that right when I start putting my instrument together. Okay, we'll pretend that I've soaked it a couple of minutes. Okay, so the flat part of the reed, see there's kind of a part that looks a little rougher, and then there's a flat part. The flat part goes against the mouthpiece. Remember that where that hole was? That's where that goes. Okay, I'm going to line that up kind of approximately straight. And then I'm going to slide the silver part right here. It's called a ligature. The screws go on the reed part. So I'm going to gently slide the larger end first over the reed, not to chip it. Careful. And I want it to be just below the ledge of the mouthpiece. If it's up too high, loosen up those screws. So I get it. Now this is where I'm going to check and see if my reed is straight at the top and at the bottom. And I want just a little bit of black showing on the very top. If you have a lot of black showing, slide it up a little bit. You want just like a hair's width of black showing. A lot of times, if your reed is a little bit crooked, or the reed is up too high or too low, it can make the clarinet hard to play. And that's what it looks like all put together. See how it's nice and straight? And there's a sliver of black showing on the top. And then you're ready to go.